Thank you. All right, this meeting was previously called to order at 6:30, and council's been in closed session. I will now ask for a pledge of allegiance led by Councilman Staff.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Melissa, can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Mayor Koth.
Here.
Mr. Carnival.
Here.
Mr. Staff.
Here.
Mr. Tajian.
Here.
Mr. Kern is absent tonight. Mr. Gullo.
Here.
And Ms. Hara. Here.
Thank you. Okay, first on our agenda for this evening is going to be to introduce and approve Resolution 24-171 and swear in our new police officer, Luke Fisher. I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 24-171.
So moved.
Second.
We have a roll call, please, Laura?
Melissa.
Sure.
sorry.
Mr. Carnival.
Yes.
Mr. Staff.
Yes.
Mr. Tajian.
Yes.
Mr. Kern is not here. Mr. Gullo.
Yes.
And Ms. Hara.
Yes.
Wonderful. Mr. Staff, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. They usually step in first, yeah. Thank you all very much for being here today. First and foremost, welcome Luke and to the Fisher family to Oradell. Luke Fisher was raised in Glen Rock, New Jersey, along with two younger siblings. Luke is a graduate of Glen Rock High School, where he played varsity soccer and lacrosse. Luke attended the University of Alabama, where he was an active member of Chi Phi fraternity as their risk manager. He graduated from the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, summa cum laude, with a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice and a minor in Cybercriminology. Luke then continued on his education with the University of Alabama and attained his master's degree. Again, summa cum laude in Criminology and Criminal Justice. I recall interviewing Luke where he shared that he is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt. I was very careful how to say that. So, I also asked him how often he called his mom. He said every day. I think that sealed my decision to the character of the person before us today. Luke will be entering the Bergen County Police Academy on August 1st, 2024, with an anticipated graduation in approximately 5 months. We wish Luke all the best in completing his training at the academy and look forward to seeing him on the streets as a police officer in the very near future. Congratulations, Luke, and welcome to Oradell. Mayor Koth.
We have somebody who wants to hold the Bible. Mom? Dad? I figured since he falls every day. Jim, congratulations. Nice to meet you. Okay, if you raise your right hand. I, Luke Fisher,
Place your left on the Bible.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of the duties of the office of
all the duties of the office of
police officer with the Oradell Police Department,
police officer with the Oradell Police Department,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
While Luke's signing, I just want to thank the members of my department. As you can see, I want to thank them for their professionalism and dedication. Put Luke through a competitive process. Small town police departments, you could argue that it's even more competitive than larger city departments that are hiring a lot more. We have a spot for one, and Luke was clearly number one to all of us. And as you can see by the support, we're excited to have him. And he's going to go off to the academy. He'll be back in 6 months, hopefully with a PTC certification. And he's going to have a successful career. We're so happy to have him. I also want to thank the mayor and council, especially my public safety committee, for helping make the hiring process go as smoothly as possible. And I'm going to present Luke with badge number 58, newest member of the Oradell Police Department. Congrats. If you wouldn't mind if we could take a couple photos? Sure. If possible.
Sure.
Are you getting it? Oh, okay.
Commissioner and the mayor for now. We gotta get this part. The other. Come on, guys.
Thank you. Everybody else, anyone else want to get?
We do a quick photo.
Steve, you want to get in?
Yeah. Okay. That's right.
Can I have you guys? Guys, can we try to organize one quick one?
Guys, how are you? What's going on? Everybody good?
You want to do that instead? You know what? We're gonna let you guys start your meeting, and we're gonna take a picture out front.
Do it. You're all there. It's a line.
Yeah, you gotta show your face.
Just one more. Don't mind.
Oh, yeah. Thank
Never.
Congratulations, Luke.
Welcome.
Over under on 8:15.
About 8:15.
30.
Actually, I've already ended 40.
60 minutes.
Have a good night.
What's that? That's good. I mean, not, you know what I mean. You don't need that kind of.
I thought we were going to get away with it tonight.
Hey, Dave, this item pertaining to the resolution, it's not a discussion for you.
Yeah.
It's not so.
I got yelled at one time.
It's you.
Me too.
Okay, on with the show. Next item on the agenda under discussion items is the curb replacement phase one of this work. I'll preface it by saying David's going to explain project that he's put together in advance of phase one of paving that is to be done by PSE&G. I will speak a little bit more about it under my report, but David, I'll let the council brief the council on resolution number 24-175.
Sure. So what we ended up doing in advance of the phase one paving, which will be done by PSE&G as a result of the gas main work, we went and solicited pricing from concrete vendors to address the handicap ramps within the area of the phase one work. So phase one, for all of you to remember, included Iroquois, Carroll Place, Neal Court, Seminole Street, and then they also did Wallvelt as part of their work. Wallvelt's already been upgraded as far as handicap ramps, but the first streets that I listed, there's a total of 12 handicap ramps that need to be upgraded to be in compliance with the ADA requirements. So what we did to try to help fast track is we solicited pricing from contractors, which is allowed in accordance with the local public contracts law. Being that the borough has a qualified purchasing agent, or you hear the term QPA, that allows us to solicit pricing up to $44,000 without having to go out for public bid. So on your consent agenda this evening is the award of a contract to Portofino Builders to carry out the construction of those handicap ramps. As you'll see, the amount, while it's close to the bid threshold, is just under it, which affords us the opportunity. Pursuant to the process, we did solicit pricing from a total of 4 concrete companies that would handle that type of work, of which 2 submitted prices for it. So that's really the gist of it. I don't know if anybody has any questions about it, or...
So, Dave, you said phase one, does it include Sherrod Drive or not?
Sherrod will be paved as well, but there's no handicap ramps.
Right, okay. Thank
Except
you.
for at the intersection of Iroquois.
Great.
But yes, Sherrod will be paved.
Okay. Does anybody have any further questions for Dave on this project? Do we have any old business? If not, do we? Go ahead, Steve.
Yes, so I just wanted to get an update from our attorney on the progress of the contract for the train station architect.
We forwarded the draft agreement a while ago. I think Mr. Hines has had conversations with Mr. Hatch, waiting for some feedback from, not Mr. Hines, but Mr. Hatch regarding.
I just spoke to Mr. Hatch today because he's hard to find sometimes too. So we're down to the final pages. Initially, they sent Mr. Bailey a contract that's an architect's dream of what you'd like in a contract. But for a borough attorney, we don't need 78 pages. So he's been busy distilling it to a short contract. But I did tell him that the mayor and council are a bit impatient. We want to make this happen. And so he understands. And I'm going to call him tomorrow.
And we're looking to really clarify the scope of work and milestones, the timeline in terms of when things are going to get done. So that's what we're waiting on.
Okay. Any further old business?
I have one. I don't know if it's old business or DPW, but Ed, do we have an update on the garbage contract?
It's out.
It's out. Great.
August 6th.
Perfect. That's what I'd like to hear. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no further old business, we'll move into new business.
I have one thing, Mayor. In anticipation of next week's July 4th celebration, I wanted to just get a general opinion of the mayor and council. As we all are aware, we have Freshman's Post Parade, and this year we've decided to maybe move it up more onto Memorial Field so that all activity is on one level. It just also alleviates a little bit of the down in the Grove versus having family up on two different levels. And as such, we're going to propose the beer garden that the OLL is going to run probably more towards the back of those woods along Caruso Drive. And one of the things I'd like to propose to the mayor and council to get your opinion on and potential verbal approval is 220 by 40 tents to provide shade. The weather forecast for July 4th looks pretty hot, and I think last year when we had to move it up to Caruso, it was extremely hot and humid, and I think it would just be a nice gesture that we potentially, just introduce having the tents in the beer garden so we have some shade for patrons.
Can you also clarify as part of that some of the operational changes that we're looking to impart with the operation of the beer garden?
Sure. At a high level, as I had mentioned, we're going to move it to really more all level, all activity on Memorial Field. The beer garden itself will be cornered off, obviously, based on the ABC board and serving alcohol. The OLL will be running the beer garden again. And to make it more family inclusive, we will have a DJ with kiddie activities, if you will. The fire department will do a wet down at the corner of Park and Prospect. And we will also have the Boy Scouts selling refreshments, hot dogs, water, and the like. One of the things that we also, just to make it more family friendly, is there, like in years past, there is surveillance. IDs will be checked. It's cornered by the state board. We have to have the fencing. But we're going to grant those individuals who are 21 years of age older a wristband, but that would allow them to bring a minor, if it was a child, into the serving area. So that's a slight change than what we've traditionally done in the past, but it, again, allows not passing children over fencing and making sure that their child is in eyesight.
Right. So it's a big change.
It is a big change.
So just to clarify what Councilman Gallo is saying is the ABC permit does not preclude individuals under the age of 21 from being in the service area. They may not be served unless they've been ID'd and have a wristband. What the permit states is that one may not leave the confined area with a container of alcohol. So this has been something that we've received some feedback in the past that it's sort of less inclusive of families where the kids are one place, the parents are another. The tents are very relevant as we're trying to bring this out of the the grove where you typically have the shade. So people that may be consuming some beverages in direct sunlight would need to be afforded shade from the tents. But it's a very different mechanism by how we're working towards operating the refreshments after the 4th of July parade, which I think will meet the satisfaction of the residents that it's a more inclusive environment so that everybody can enjoy.
How much are the tents going to cost?
The quote that we got, Roger, is $900 for
Cheaper than
install
everything.
and everything. Town and Country gave us the quote
Yeah.
on it.
Is it budgeted somewhere, or?
It is, yep.
Okay.
Are the tents that we use for the farmer's market not large enough? I don't know how big those are.
Yeah, Maggie, those are a pop-up tent. This is more of like
Oh,
a white
gotcha. Okay.
function, special function. So
20 by 40 is big. It's the right
It is.
size,
It is.
especially
And
two
there's
of them.
two of them. Two
I'm just
20 by
concerned
40s.
about the budget and if it's
Right.
budgeted for.
Yep.
That's my only question.
Yep. So the reason I'm bringing that up as new business is Melissa and I contacted the building department and they needed a verbal just consent from the mayor and council that we can move ahead with this, and that we'll have to provide them with a map as to where the setup might be. So it doesn't require a special permit.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a great
It's
idea.
evolving over the
Well done.
years. I know, remember last year, it was extremely hot, and there was some issues there, and I think the tenting it is just a nice idea. So, support it.
Okay.
Anybody on the council have any concerns about Mr. Gullo's request?
No, I think it's a wonderful idea.
Then we will, Ted, feel free to work with staff to execute that then.
Thank you.
Any other new business? Hearing none, we'll open the meeting up to public comment for non-agenda items only. You're on, Paul.
Holy Bible here. Paul Atsunas. I thought about staying home tonight, but I was kind of tired, and I said to myself, well, they're going to miss me, so I better get over there. And I just made it. Anyway, did we have a closed session tonight? I don't know.
We did.
Could you give me the topics?
Yes, we met with our bond counsel, new bond counsel, who's sitting here. We also met with our health insurance broker with respect to the borough's prescription program, and had a discussion about pending litigation relating to the Subaru site.
Okay, thank you. I have a question that I talked about last time I was here, and that was about the container for the styrofoam at the DPW. Did we find out what happened to it? I know we paid $1,000 for it, so it's ours. So what happened to the container? Does anybody find out?
Ed, we have any awareness on that?
I don't.
Unfortunately, Mr. Kern is on vacation this evening, I believe, so
Okay.
he would be the next person to have an answer.
I actually went down to the DPW and I was able to put styrofoam in an area that they said to put it. So I don't know about the container you're just talking about.
Was it an enclosed area because it can't get wet?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Okay. We still need the container, though, to deliver it. Okay, the other subject I have here is Tunnel to Towers. I called them up again, and I talked to the donation department, and they have 4 projects going on right now. And I told them about the Blauvelt Manor again, and they said for future consideration. So I'll keep after it and see what we can do there. The other thing is the library. Boy, do I miss that library. Because I go there almost every day. I read the papers, do my rounds, come in here once in a while. So you haven't seen me around lately because I haven't been going to the library. So I was wondering, what happens to the employees? Are they getting unemployment now that they're going to be out for so long?
So I believe Councilman Tastian will have an update during his report on the library.
Okay, good. Well,
Could I also say to you that I went to the River Edge Library and I asked them, and they said they've had a large increase of Oradell residents coming there. They have a very peaceful reading room, and they welcome Oradell residents. So
yeah, well, I'm going to go there tomorrow. because I held out until tomorrow. I got to go. Anyway, the other thing is on the library, the mechanical stuff that's put on the roof and stuff, maybe this is a good time. Maybe we should put it down on the ground behind the library so we don't have to deal with these problems with the roof. Maybe we have a chance to do that now, and I was just thinking about that. And it'll stop any potential roof problems in the future. So, because of the weight and all the stuff that's been going on, because we've had problems with the library roof all along. So I'm just suggesting maybe we could do that, and because if we just put it in the back, and there's land, I think, available in the back, instead of laying it up on the roof, And that's basically what I wanted to say tonight. And I will see you guys later.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you for coming.
Any other member of the general public wish to speak on non-agenda items?
Good evening, Mayor Koth, esteemed members of the council, and fellow residents. My name is David Del Corral. Let me just adjust this up. And I live at 640 Cooper Ave in Oradell. I'm speaking on behalf of the RDSA, Riverdale Soccer Association, about the urgent need to repair the Park Ave soccer field. The Park Ave soccer field is at Memorial Park, adjacent to Park Avenue. For those who don't know, RDSA organizes and runs the soccer program in our community. After I speak, Mr. Ruiz, who is the president of the Riverdale Blackhawks, our town travel program, will also make a statement, and I invite other residents to also speak on this topic as well. First, I just want to express our profound gratitude to Councilman Ted Gullo. Ted has engaged with us just walking the Park Ave field, listening to our concerns about the safety and the need for improvement, and just giving us general advice on how we should go about advocating for our needs. And so I just wanted to thank Mr. Gullo, what he's been doing to just kind of advise us on the process and steps we should be taking shows his unwavering commitment to the community, and we greatly, greatly appreciate it. So thank you, Ted. I'd like to present some data, just reflecting our organization and the current participation. We have roughly 1,400 participants in RDSA. It's a mix of about 40% girls and 60% boys. We have about 500 kids in our kindergarten through second grade clinic program. We have about 500 kids in our third through eighth grade recreation program. And we have about 400 in the Blackhawks travel program. So it's a very significant, large part of our community. As for the soccer field, we envision the Park Ave soccer field to be a cornerstone of our program. When it's revitalized, literally every single player in our organization will have the opportunity to play on the Park Ave field. Boys, girls, kindergarten, up through eighth grade. Our K through second grade clinic uses the Park Ave field on a weekly basis. It's their introduction to soccer. And we make it fun for them, and we want them to stay in the program so that we can continue to build and grow and give them an opportunity to practice soccer and have fun with their friends and be on a team. Our third through sixth graders, they used to play weekly games on that field. For the last 3 years, we haven't been able to do so due to safety concerns, but if we could revitalize that field and get it back to playing condition, our third through sixth graders would be playing on that field on a weekly basis. And I'll let Mr. Ruiz speak on part of the Blackhawks, but the Blackhawks practice on the Park Ave soccer field every weekday in the fall and in the spring. And I could tell you from personal experience coaching multiple teams, the surface there is dangerous to players, and it's not up to the standards of a town soccer field compared to similar towns in Bergen County. So this diverse group of young athletes would greatly benefit from the field requests to improve the field and get it back to playing condition. Not to mention, every time I pass by Memorial, I see kids just playing with their friends, enjoying the soccer field. I see families kicking the ball around. It's a community field that everybody in the community would benefit from, and it would be a huge piece of our community because so many kids love playing soccer, and so many parents love coaching their kids playing soccer. And it gives them confidence, it gives them energy, it gives them an avenue to express their emotions on the field. And it's something that I firmly believe, I'm really passionate about this. I believe after spending, I have kids, I have a 13-year-old and I have an 8-year-old. Having coached them in multiple sports and especially in soccer, I feel really strongly that if we could put some effort and energy into revitalizing the Park Ave field, other people will experience the same joy that we all kind of have an opportunity to experience. We just want to make that better. So thank you for your consideration for this. I'm going to invite Mr. Ruiz to come up and speak on behalf of the Blackhawks too.
Dave, can I ask one question before
sure.
you do that?
Yeah.
So what fields does RDSA use? I'm sure you use more than just Memorial.
Yep. We use Park Avenue Memorial. We use DPAC, the soccer field, and sometimes we work with the football organization to also use their side of the field as well. We use KBG and River Edge for soccer games. We also, and Mike can speak to this a little bit more, but we also use some of the middle school and high school fields as well to supplement that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. And of the statistics, what's so it's RDSA, right? So
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's kids from both towns.
Is River
participating?
Is River Edge and Oradell participating?
What's the breakdown roughly?
I think it's about 55% River Edge and 45% Oradell,
Okay.
roughly. I can get you those exact numbers. But
No, I'm just curious as to the rough.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Yep.
I'm not as tall as Dave, so let me lower this a bit. My name is Michael Ruiz de Mercurcio. I live at 738 Woodland Avenue in Oradell. I'm a resident since 2011. I'm the president of the Blackhawks travel soccer organization as well. I will say, as our numbers are slightly different, it's about 52 Oradell, 48 River Edge for the travel organization. We have a little over 400 kids, 425 actually have completed registration for our fall season. I will stress too, for the River Edge fields, that if you look at KBG, the middle school, or Roosevelt, we do use Roosevelt for fall only. All three of those fields are really shared fields in essence as well. So we're sharing them with baseball, softball. As it relates to the improvements at Roosevelt, we did work closely with the baseball and softball folks to advocate on their behalf for those improvements at Roosevelt Field. So our goal really is field improvement for all kids to play at. We're not just focused on soccer, although we represent soccer. I will say, too, I appreciate the leadership of all of you, including the new leaders that have come on board, who really made a hallmark of field improvement a part of the election. We all agreed with that as well. I do want to stress that when we look overall at the field usage, and Dave really hit the nail on the head. So there's not a dearth of field space available. You don't have open space that's just sitting around. For us, this is, we do have some practices there. We have not had any competitive games there in years, but it's a field that could be of use. When I look at KBG or Roosevelt or the middle school, they're all grass fields. I mean, there's patches of maybe not grass, but they're flat surfaces. They're not a danger to kids. There's no sinkholes in some parts of the field, which we've seen there. The overall experience that we're seeing is that this field could actually be utilized not by just soccer. So lacrosse is a growing program. When we look at our Oradell usage, the only fields we're able to utilize are DPAC, really. We have multiple different teams, so all the way from a 7v7, which is the littlest kids, to 9v9 fields, which are larger, to 11v11. The DPAC field is a fantastic field that everyone wants to use, but when I look at that field, it's really meant for 9v9 or 11v11, the older kids. This can be a field that can be utilized on Park Ave for 7v7 kids as well. The other thing is, if a soccer game's going on and a baseball game at the same time at Park Ave, There's foul balls that come, again, another issue that we're seeing. So when we look overall of about a proposal of what we're looking at, we're not asking for, hey, let's do a turf field, or we want to be really fiscally responsible, but utilize, again, an existing space. We do see people walking their dogs on the field. OPS students are on that field. Lacrosse could utilize the field, and baseball could have games the same times that we're playing if there's some sort of protective area there as well. So we're really looking for this as an active field that can be used for multiple different groups, including our group, who really doesn't have access at this point in time in this town for these types of fields. The only other thing is I do want to make everyone aware we did notify our membership of the ask and the need. So Dave sent a notice out to 1,000 of his kids. We did to our 425, just mentioning that, hey, we're going to be advocating for this and really want to hear additional voices of it as well. So I really appreciate the time that you guys have given us today. We look forward to coming up with solutions. And when I say a solution too, there's the opportunity for even where we contribute financially to something that's important with other organizations, we'd be willing to look at that as well. So,
what specifically do you want done to the field?
I think I can present what we've put together. We actually have some graphs that we'll leave behind later. I don't want to take up the time, but specifically it's really a regrading of the field, so it's really not even at all, making it very dangerous. There's also some sinkholes in the area, so obviously having that regraded, straightened out. On the baseball side, protective netting on that area there, at least so that multiple games can be played. And I think we would purchase the goals for there. I think Lacrosse would be able to purchase their equipment if they wanted to utilize that field as well. So that's not an ask at all, but it's really just making a safe, straight, level playing field. We've actually done some measurements too. We could even put in that space on Park Ave Field 2 7x7 fields and even a 9v9 field across that too. So again, multiple different uses. It would get a lot of use if it were improved for sure.
And you have graphs you're going to leave?
I do, yeah. I'm going to leave it behind. I won't waste your time with it, but we have graphs along with the information we sent out to our membership about what we're looking for. Want to be transparent with that as well.
Does your plan include ongoing maintenance to maintain the levelness of the field and the playability of the field?
There would be. When I look at the other fields, so some of them have sprinkler systems, for example, so that would be, looked at as part of this. But yeah, there would be, we work with the River Edge Different Town for some of the access to those fields. They work with us for that. The same ask would be here, making sure that, sometimes there's different reseeding that occurs in all the fields that I mentioned, to make sure that there's grass there and it's not all just a big mud pit. But that's really not a lot of, I can tell you in working with the other fields, there's not a lot of interaction once it's pretty much level, other than reseeding or maybe the sprinkler system if that's needed by their needs.
Quick question. When you worked on Roosevelt Field, was that your organization project taking that on, or did River Edge?
It was their project.
How did that operate?
Yeah, so we worked that. It was their project, and if you remember that project, it started out a lot more ambitious than where it ended up. I will say we helped. We were supportive of it because some of the improvements they were looking for would have benefited us as well. So again, grass field, they installed a sprinkler system. It was a very tough field, level, which was great, but a lot of, mud patches, or we would have to call games there sometimes because of that issue, which wasn't effective. We're canceling games on the weekends for stuff like that. So, yeah, we were very supportive of their needs for that because also, we're using the field as they are.
Sure.
So it was a good collaboration among the different organizations, which I think would be similar here because, I think the baseball folks want to use it and not be burdened by us. We want to use the field and not have a situation of a foul ball hitting us. And lacrosse is a very growing sport with no real fields, if you think about it. So yeah, we would love to partner with those folks as well.
Good, thank you. I remember when my kids played at Roosevelt, so I have fond memories of the condition back then.
Yeah.
So glad that it's done. Thank you.
No problem.
I had two quick questions. Yeah. So Blackhawks is part of RSDA?
Yes.
Or it's a separate
run organization, but under the same umbrella.
Under the same umbrella. And it's for Oradell and River Edge kids,
yes.
Right? Okay.
We actually have in our charter, so I think overall, we have a couple of kids from other towns outside of Oradell and River Edge, but it's like 98%. And in our charter, I think we have to have like a minimum of 95% of township residents. We're well above that. We don't have many kids from other towns playing in the program.
So is it technically a travel or a club team?
It's funny. There's a lot of discussion about that. We were traveling, but we're a club team.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thanks.
Good evening, Joseph Ceylon, 128 Merritt Drive. Now, I don't have an official title with Riverdale Soccer or Black Hawks, but the president was looking for the best-looking guy in town to come make a speech, and here I am.
Check's in the mail.
Joking aside, I'm here to speak about my experiences with Black Hawk Soccer and Riverdale Soccer as a parent, as a coach, and as a resident. When I moved to this town back in 2014, I guess it was the pre-K program that helped me meet a lot of my parents, a lot of my friends. Going to the games, that's where I met a lot of my neighbors. That was a huge positive experience for me. I mean, I remember my son, 6-year-old Jacob, playing soccer on that field, scoring a goal to his net, cheering, embarrassing me to become a great soccer player for high school, scoring goals and making me proud and winning games. So that's the experience that I have. I could also speak about experiences 2 of my sons and 3 of my daughters played or still playing for Blackhawks High School and me coaching U10 team. So it's a great organization, it's a great benefit to the town, and it really does help the kids improve emotionally, physically, and also I would say socially for sure. We cannot deny it. I mean, they become great team players. They become better person. I mean, me coaching the team, I had kids who had social anxiety issues that didn't want to go into game, becoming team leaders, becoming captains, that always want to play. So these are the experiences I have I wanted to share with you. So for this organization to grow and become better, we really need that Memorial Park field. I mean, us as adults, we play soccer once a week. Us as adults, we would not play on that field. And we're asking our kids, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids, to practice there and play there. So I know as a mayor, council, you guys have some other priorities, some other responsibilities, which we understand. But I think Memorial Park improvement should be on top of that, on that list. And I hope it is. That's all. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just leave these here as well.
Thank you. So thank you for speaking about that. I think we can all agree our recreational programs are one of our strengths in a town like Oradell. And Joe, as you so well said, it's not only our kids that build friendships and circles of friends, but it's also important to the adults as well, those that are new to the community. I think one of the issues with that field, honestly, I'll back up. So as you know, we're committed to revamping our recreational facilities in town. And, we started with maintenance on our baseball fields because 'tis the season. Soccer's next on our list, right? We didn't get to that because we had to work with our staff and retrain them, and we haven't done many capital. If anything, it's really been how do we maintain our fields? I think Little League supported some funding for clay and things like that. So I see us being able to do some short-term work to make a field safe. Having grown up in this town, I can say this safely. I don't think that patch of the Memorial Park was ever designed officially as a field. If it was, it wouldn't be pitched the way it is, and it would be more of a facility, if you would, akin to how a baseball field is very distinctive or DPAC set up for its reasons. So I think what you may be asking is for us to consider something new and improved there that would benefit the youth soccer program. We're in a process of looking at all our fields and saying, what can they be used for? Are we efficiently using field space? Are people confined to places for whatever reason, but they could be using other fields because they're dormant? This takes time. The town has no plan for its recreational facilities. And I wish we could fix what's been not tended to for some time, but it's going to take some time to get it fixed. So I would ask for your continued partnership, your continued involvement, and your continued patience with us as we work towards those goals. One of the things that I believe in the next month or two, Councilman Gullo and I are going to do is ask for representatives from each of the sports leagues to come to an open house meeting with us to talk about Memorial in specific, because not only could it be improved for soccer's perspective, but you cannot play 2 baseball games on that field at the same time. So what's the point of 2 fields if I can only use one at a time, right? So there's a whole re-envisioning that really should be happening up there, and asking ourselves, what are our youth community's recreational needs? And are our facilities responsive to those needs? Or do we need to tweak things or think outside the box in terms of what changes may need to be made? So we're going to ask each of the leagues to send reps to this meeting. I look forward to it. I think it'll be a very informative and productive meeting in terms of conversation, which really is necessary in order to move forward in that process. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys coming out and speaking tonight. I know you guys really bust your back for the league. It's not easy to do these things. I think sometimes you guys have harder jobs than we do, because you got to deal with 500 or 1,000 parents who are all at you about why my kid isn't on this team and whatever the case is. But I want you to rest assured that this is something that is on our agenda. We will be looking to address safety issues in time for the fall season. But as far as, getting a whole new field laid out and regraded and all this other stuff, that's just not feasible for the fall season. We just don't have the time to accomplish that. And if I told you we would, I wouldn't be telling you the truth. So, again, I look forward to talking with whomever you guys want to send. I'm sure Ted will reach out to the different leagues shortly and ask for those volunteers. But thank you. Any other member of the public wish to comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none.
Motion to close public?
Second?
Roll call, please, Melissa.
Sure. Mr. Carnevale?
Yes.
Mr. Stack?
Yes.
Mr. Tajian?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Hara?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now entertain a motion to open the meeting for consent agenda items only.
So moved?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Mayor, but we were going to add a couple of items to the consent agenda. Should we do that now before we
Okay.
ask
Yep.
the public?
Thank you. So before you speak, Paul, I'm going to impinge on your 5 minutes. I'm sure you'll lend me the courtesy.
Yes.
We are going to add 2 resolutions to the consent agenda by voice addition. One is Resolution 24-180, authorizing the borough to change prescription benefits managements from a private benefit manager, or ARIA, to the state health benefits plan, effective October 1st. That is Resolution 24-180. As the borough attorney alluded to, we had a meeting with our health benefits provider before, newly appointed Brown & Brown, who has advised us that there is a substantial savings in upwards of more than 50% of our current expenses for prescription drug benefits by switching from one plan, the private benefits manager, to the state health benefits prescription program. The second resolution is 24-181, which is an authorization for the borough to enter into agreement with Craig Scott Entertainment an amount not to exceed $11,500 to produce the Oradell Summer Concert Series with a total of 5 concerts. Those are the 2 resolutions that are being added by voice addition, just so you have that awareness before you make any public comment.
Thank you. That's a good savings, 50%. That's very good. Good job. Resolution 24-173. And I ask why and how can this stop? Because this isn't the first time I've heard about all of these assessments. And they're very large amounts for these buildings on Kinderkamack Road. I mean, we had last year there was, I think, 2 or 3 of those type of assessments that were very large assessments also, that we had to refund all this money. And I'm just wondering, why can't we have some assessor go there and do it right, And this one here is $380,722.87 that we have to give back So they were overassessed, and this is the 390 Kinderkamack Road, which is the one that was looking to do something there. I understand 390. And so,
690, Paul.
pardon me?
690.
Oh, 690, that's what I wanted to say, 690. I said 390, sorry. Yeah, the 690 one. And I'm just wondering, why can't we stop this so we don't have be saddled with all of this giving back money, and it messes up our budget,
Mayor, if you don't mind, give him a response. So, Paul, over the last, I'm going to say, 5 to 7 years, the use of offices in general has changed drastically. As you know, work from home, obviously COVID, et cetera. But occupancy is one of the major things that affects tax rates for commercial buildings, and hence the reason why you see a lot of requests for buildings to change use. But I don't want to call it a perk, but one of the advantages of having empty buildings for owners is it allows them to appeal their taxes because of the usage.
So that's what it is, the vacancies creating the tax assessment to be lower.
Correct.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other member of the public wish to make comment on consent agenda items only? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close to the public.
So moved.
Second.
Move a roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tajian?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Hara?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Melissa, can you read the correspondence into the record, please?
Sure. Number 1 is the Oradell Police Report for May 2024. Number 2 is notice of violation from the New Jersey DEP regarding Hackensack Golf Club Dam. Notice of award from the New Jersey DEP regarding Memorial Field Trails Stewardship Project in the amount of $71,115. Number 4 is a notice regarding response action outcome for Block 121, Lot 2.
Thank you. Okay, committee reports. I'm going to be brief. I'm just going to piggyback on David's.
To vote on the consent agenda.
To vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To file consent.
Yeah. Thank you. You want to run the meeting? I'm going to go.
No, it's okay.
No, I'm kidding. Do we have any questions on the consent agenda from the council, or would any council member like a resolution to be pulled for a separate vote?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Do a roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tajian?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Hara?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now we're on to committee reports. I'm going to be brief and just talk about, I'm going to piggyback on a little bit of David's report before about paving. I know that this has been a very interesting topic for our residents around town about why the public utilities are going around ravaging our streets and trenching them, and especially a street like Prospect, which has been recently paved in the last number of years. PSE&G, just for a quick refresher, is doing a massive gas infrastructure upgrade to replace their lines and run new service lines to customers. We have certain streets that are now within 7 years of being paved or under a moratorium. If a utility goes in and does the type of work PSE&G is doing to a street like Prospect, they have made a business decision that that is a necessary thing for them to execute in completing their capital project. They are required to repave the entirety of the street from curb to curb. In there are instances where there are streets that are not on the moratorium list or streets that have been paved more than 7 years ago. PSE&G has committed to the borough that they are going to repave the entire half of the street that they've trenched. The borough has been escrowing funds for the last number of years and has not been doing many paving projects save for a DOT grant here and there to be able to match the paving when PSE&G comes in to pave their half of the street. The borough at the same time will ensure the remainder of the street is paved so we have a newly paved street from curb to curb. Why is this significant? A, people are being disrupted. There's no question about it. It's a very necessary project. It is one that if they don't do here, they will do somewhere else, and someone else will benefit from these upgrades. But you should rest assured that the council has properly managed that our streets are being repaved once this work is done. Probably in the month of August, all streets affected by trenching north of Soldier Hill Road, David mentioned them, Iroquois, Blauville, Carroll, Sherrod, Neal, Seminole, will all be repaved prior to the end of summer. That whole section of town will be paved curb to curb. We are working with PSE&G to schedule a second flight of paving sometime before the end of the paving season, most likely in the month of October, where certain roads between Soldier Hill and Oradell Avenue get repaved. The final flight of paving will happen in the spring of 2025 once they've completed all of their work. We are being out in advance of PSE&G's paving efforts to make sure we have ADA accessible drop curbs at crosswalks, that we've been repairing curbing where necessary, and other types of concrete work that would be a shame to miss the opportunity only to do later and ruin the newly paved road. So people should rest assured, if somebody is digging up a brand new street, that utility is doing it as a business decision on their part and are pulling the freight of repaving the entire thing. But as far as where they're trenching on other streets, partnership between the borough and PSE&G will repave those streets from curb to curb. So I ask for everybody's patience as they work to bring this project to conclusion. It should be complete by the end of this year, early next year.
The gas work, yes.
Yeah, the gas work. And there is some paving that still needs to be done in the Greenway section from PS's electrical work that was done underground there. Here's the bottom line. This saves Oradell taxpayers 6 or 7 figures worth of road paving. So while we're being inconvenienced in the short term, there's a major benefit to this community long term in terms of maintaining better infrastructure at a less cost.
Can I interject?
Go ahead,
if you're
Dave.
done with that. Just to ad lib on that as well, I know anytime the borough has done any road improvement projects, such as Prospect Ave, we do work with the utility companies and notify them of the projects that we have going on.
Thank you.
So that they're fully aware of it. So in this scenario, PSE&G was fully aware of the project. Unfortunately, they didn't envision their work being completed as quickly as they have throughout the entire state of New Jersey. They've been making great headway on their projects and programs, and as such, and because they were in the area doing a couple other projects, they decided they wanted to just jump in and do the improvements that they're doing. So again, the borough coordinates with the utility providers related to our road improvements so that they take care of their projects well in advance of our paving, so we don't have the scenario that happened. But like you had mentioned, it was a business decision that they made. Unfortunately, Prospect, they did need to do the improvements to help feed their other branches that go off to the other side streets. So there was no choice but to do that work there. So.
No, that was a great point. Thank you, Dave.
Sure.
I have one other thing to add about that. What it means for residents, aside from the paving that's going on, is that going forward, we have a 7-year moratorium, is that if somebody puts a generator in, they will not have to open the road, that it can actually be done on the house because there's enough pressure now to have that done. Whereas in the past, if somebody wanted to put a generator or a pool or something that required a heavy draw of natural gas, it won't have to rip up the road again. So there is significant consumer/resident benefit also.
No, that's a great point. Both great points, because the whole premise is for them to provide a higher pressure gas service. So like Roger said, there's more of an increased demand for gas now. In the past, you used to have to retap the main and run a new line. These new lines have the ability to flow higher pressure of gas through them. So again, less disruptions, less utility work going forward. The only other thing I wanted to report on now was mentioned under correspondence, and earlier this year, the council authorized for the application of a NJDEP Field Trail Stewardship Project. We were awarded $71,115. So our grant wins this year are racking up between this, improvements to Hoffman Field, and our senior center kitchen rehab. We're working hard to make sure that our grant manager is has their nose to the grindstone looking for these opportunities. Before we get into Council President Carnaval's report, I've asked that ordinance 24-8 and 2411 be tabled until the next meeting. Council President Carnaval.
Thank you, Mayor. Starting with the Administration Committee, we are still in the process of completing the salary reviews for the borough's non-union employees and hope to have proposed salary adjustments within the next few weeks. For the Ordinance Committee, we'll start with the introduction of ordinances for this evening. Ordinance number 24-9 is ready for first reading.
Thanks. Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance 24-9 by title only?
Sure. An ordinance amending Chapter 102 of the Borough of Oradell Code pertaining to background checks.
Somebody want to provide an explanatory statement, Mr. Bailey?
Yes, the proposed amendment expands background checks for certain departments within the borough, such as the fire department. Clarifies that the rec department has to. It's generally designed to require checks for borough volunteers, employees that may be interacting with children, elderly people that may be in vulnerable situations. So it's not across the board, but more geared towards people that will be interacting, just so, it's proper protection for all concerned.
I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 24-9 be passed on first reading and published in the Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024 edition of the Bergen Record.
Second.
We have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tajian?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Harrer?
Yes.
Ordinance number 24-10 is ready for first reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 24-10 by title only?
Sure. The 2024 Capital Program Bond Ordinance.
Mr. Hines.
So normally the Chief Financial Officer would be here to present the capital budget. However, that we have a second chance. There's another reading of this ordinance, but tonight we have the bond lawyer who prepared the ordinance. So he may wish to, he's brand new. We appointed him just recently, McManaman, Scotland, and Bauman. We have Mr. Langhart here. So he could address the size of the note issue we're planning. But the CFO will be here at the next meeting to give a more detailed description and answer any questions. And in addition, the auditor has filed the all-important supplemental debt statement with Trenton, and the Department of Community Affairs has already responded. They received it. So can I ask
But
Mr.
I suppose by new, you mean to the borough, not in his career. He looks quite experienced.
New bond lawyer.
Mr. Langhart.
Mr. Langhart?
Good evening. I'm Chris Langhart from McManaman, Scotland, and Bauman. We are the newly appointed bond counsel. I just want to say we appreciate the opportunity to work with the borough. We appreciate our appointment, and we look forward to working with the council over the next, hopefully, good long period of time. Thank you, Mr. Hines, for the introduction. What you are looking at here today is the introduction of a bond ordinance for the borough to fund the capital program. It's appropriating $2,970,000 for the various capital improvements that are listed in the bond ordinance and authorizing the issuance of $2,828,560 worth of bonds to fund those capital improvements. The rest is either through grant monies that have been received by the borough or a down payment that is put down from available cash from the borough. The ordinance will be introduced tonight, approved by a majority vote, we hope. You'll have a public hearing. You'll have a second hearing, as Mr. Hines said, where you may make your capital presentation for the borough. And then we'll publish a notice of it, and after 20 days it'll be effective, and we can borrow upon it and fund the projects that are here. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Langhart, you mentioned a public hearing. That's required tonight, or that's required at the next meeting?
That's required at the next meeting after we give notice of it, if I wasn't clear.
Everybody's had a chance to review the capital budget that the council's approved? Any questions? Thank you very much, Mr. Langhart.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
So, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 24-10 be passed on first reading and published in the Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024 edition of the Bergen Record.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tajian?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Hara?
Yes.
So we will continue to work on the other outstanding ordinance projects. I do have my list if anybody has any questions, but I think you're familiar with the various projects that we're working on. With the planning board, the board did not meet in June due to the fact that there were no applications to be heard. The master plan subcommittee of the board did meet regarding the re-examination project that will be taking place this year. I plan to meet with the board chair, Ed Flagan, to get an update on those discussions and as well to see where the mayor and council can provide guidance and direction to those discussions. The re-examination of the master plan will need to address the new affordable housing legislation from a planning and development perspective, but we'll also need to look at where we should be considering other changes to drive quality of life improvements across our community. The next meeting of the Planning Board is scheduled for Tuesday, July 2nd at 7:30. Moving on to the Zoning Board. The Zoning Board also did not meet in June as once again there were no applications to be heard. The next scheduled meeting of the board is Monday, July 15th at 7:30 p.m. And I believe the agenda will include the special needs housing project on Genther Avenue. For the Historical Committee, I was not able to attend the last two meetings, so I will ask Councilwoman Hara to report on those meetings.
Absolutely, thank you. They were well attended. They do both in live and Zoom meetings. Sam Trispus discussed some wonderful ideas about show and tell on porch railings and spindles. Sam is quite an historian about the architecture of Oradell. Bob McConnell is donating a 1912 Bourbon County map of New Milford to the library, and he brought it to the meeting and showed it to everyone. And he encouraged everyone to meet in person, although we're continuing hybrid meetings because some people are not able to attend in person. They discussed ideas for their fall town hall series. It's the 60th anniversary of 1964 World's Fair, and they're considering creating an event around that. The committee is concerned about the Oradell train station restoration and repair and looking forward eagerly to a full report on that. The most recent meeting on June 24th, Lou Essler attended, and there was a discussion about preserving his historic house/office building where Fenner and Essler Insurance now is existing. And as Lou is in his, he didn't say how old he was, but he said he was approaching 90s or somewhere in that area. He was concerned about preserving the house and wants to discuss proposals, possibly with the aid of the borough of Oradell, and he had more discussions with the committee, so I presume that things will be coming into the mayor and council. Again, the Historical Committee discussed September 8th Family Day, and they will participate with a table and some activities for families. And there was a discussion about the traditional town hall education event, further discussions about the World's Fair theme, and there will be more discussions on that.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Mayor. That's my report for this evening.
Thank you, Council President. Mr. Staff, Public Safety, Emergency Management, and Board of Health.
Thank you, Mayor. On June 13th, the borough, under the leadership of Captain Wicker, celebrated Police Chief Ryan Leibowitz. Chief Leibowitz was picked up at his home by Chief Wicker and Mayor Koth, and they proceeded past OPS, where his classmates cheered under a police escort to Borough Hall, where he was sworn in by acting Mayor James Koth IV. Yes, that is Mayor Koth's son and friend. At approximately 9 a.m., Chief Leibowitz and his family enjoyed a tour of the police station, vehicles, breakfast with the department, and a day of activities with other chiefs in Hackensack. It was an amazing day, and we would like to thank the Leibowitz family for sharing Ryan with us. Thank you to the Bergen County Chiefs Association, Chief Wicker, Sergeant Ligori, and the entire police department and Oradell Fire Department for your support in this special day. This summer, a plaque will be installed celebrating all chiefs for the day in Borough Hall. The Public Safety Committee did not meet this month as we are holding joint meetings with OEM, Fire, DPW, Public Safety, of course, and the Borough Administration to organize the 4th of July activities. Class 3 officer update for Riverdale High School. Oradell Police and Riverdale Board of Education are working on an agreement to move forward with the PSC, Mayor and Council with the goal of an officer in place by September. The position was formally posted yesterday. Dave, I have a quick question for you. We discussed the two-sided signs that are on back order for grant. Could you just give an update with the status on that?
Yeah, I'm hoping that they should be in within the next 2 weeks and get it installed.
Okay.
They'll also be over at Prospect as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Public Safety continues to examine traffic calming measures along Kinderkamak and pedestrian safety. With increased activity within our corridor, especially at our restaurants, Aura and Oak House, this is paramount. Residents are reminded to put their phones down, obey the speed limit, and keep a safe distance. And we also remind residents to keep a watchful eye for strange activity. If you see something, please call it in and say something. Lock your house and cars. Share with a neighbor if you are not home for a period of time this summer. There is nothing to report from the Board of Health, but finally, just one quick thing. I would like to wish Chief Wicker a happy birthday today and all the best for continued health and success. And this concludes my report, Mayor.
Why didn't you wait to share that until now? We all could have sung him happy birthday before.
Yeah.
We would have loved that.
Have you heard me sing?
Maggie would have led the charge.
No, we should have made Luke do it as the newly sworn in officer.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Councilman Tashin, Library, Environmental, Beautification, and so on.
Thank you. So first I'd like to lead off with congratulations to all the graduates. It was a hot night at Riverdale, and I saw the three of you sitting out on the field as I was in the stands, and I was not envious of you because I know it's about 20 degrees hotter on the turf. So kudos to you guys for roughing it out. But congratulations to all our grads and good luck with their future endeavors. Regarding the library, what more can I tell you other than the reality is it's probably going to be closed until mid-August. A little background, we were in the process of replacing air conditioners, and in that process we had some heavy rain, and it uncovered a fundamental fault in the roof that there was not enough drainage, and drainage has since been added to manage the water in the roof. So hopefully we will mitigate future issues, but reality is we had a problem. Insurance claims have been submitted, Resto has been working there, and we've got electrical work that needs to be done, flooring that needs to be replaced, and assurances that, we don't have any mold going on in the library. Paul, you had a question about employees. They are continue to be paid, and I did have a discussion with the board president with regarding to maybe furloughing. And I think because we have an end date, it probably doesn't make sense. The part-timers aren't getting paid because there is no work for them to be doing. So I think minimal impact on budget, and they'll continue to work on projects that have probably been long-standing and wanting to get done, so the to-dos are being knocked down. For environmental, just want to tell people that the River Edge Paddle Day is July 9th. They'll be putting canoes on the river. The canoes hold 2 people, and you have to go to the River Edge site to sign up. There's a sign-up wizard there. and nothing to report on economic development. I did have a call with Amy on it, and we're trying to figure out where they're going to lie or not lie going forward. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Roger. Anybody have anything for John? Okay, seeing none, we'll get an update from him at the next meeting. Technology, Communications, Recreation, Councilman Willow.
Thank you, Mayor. The Technology and Communications Committee did not meet this month. However, we did receive a proposal from DTM Consulting, which is the borough's IT administrator, about the server replacement. So that analysis currently is with the borough administrator and others under review, and it is my intention to bring it to our next meeting to discuss as a committee. Senior Advisory Committee, on June 6th, we had a very successful cyber awareness and digital wellness program by Oradell resident James Del Greco. It was nicely attended with 20 residents. We intend to actually repeat a similar program, hopefully in the fall, ahead of the holiday season. A reminder to all residents that this Thursday, the 27th, the seniors will be hosting bingo for the first time this year, 12 to 2. Pizza will be served as well as prizes will be given out. In terms of special events, I think everyone's aware the Oradell, or the Borough of Oradell, will be hosting the fireworks next Wednesday, July 3rd. Starting at 6:30, we have over, I think it's 12 food trucks in between Oradell Ave and Park Ave. There'll be a DJ. All are welcome, and we're looking forward to that opportunity. And then following the next day, the borough will be hosting its parade, starting down on 3rd Street and ending up at Memorial Field, followed by a family celebration with a beer garden, kiddie games, and the like. Again, as a reminder, the rain date, which I only want to say this once, is July 5th for the fireworks, and the parade itself is rain or shine. I think more recently, we did announce our summer concert series, which starts July 11th. The days of the week will be Thursdays at 7 p.m. Memorial Field. Certainly visit the borough website for more information. And just one other PSA, as the commissioner for the fire department, their fundraising campaign, all the mailers have been sent out to all residents of borough. I encourage everyone to support the fire department. They work tirelessly, the men and women, for our community. They're usually our first call behind the police department. So I would ask that you consider to support them in this year's campaign. And that's it.
Thank you, Ted. Municipal Drug Alliance, Stigma-Free, Oradell for All, OPTV, Councilwoman Howard.
Thank you, Mayor. I spoke to Sergeant Rich Ligori, who heads up the Municipal Drug Alliance, and he wants me to remind the public that we have clothing drops at the DPW at Riverdale High School in the back lot by the field house, and a third at the Care One facility in Oradell. And the money from the clothing and that are putting those drops goes to drug lines, community policing, and everything the police sponsors, including the fireworks. So I would urge the public to take all your used clothing and your shoes to those clothing drops and utilize them, please. OPTV is now a double award-winning public service in Oradell. They won 2 awards just recently, and we were here in the council when they brought the awards in. Besides doing their excellent coverage of the mayor and council meetings, planning and zoning meetings, special events like the LBGQU flag raising, which they covered nicely, they have set up a series of interviews during the summer with interesting Oradell citizens, which will air on OPTV. Stay tuned for the announcements of these special interviews, and they will also be interviewing politicians and department heads to help citizens know where our taxes are going and what the staff does every day for Oradell citizens. Stigma-Free Task Force, so far, is one of my favorite activities. On Saturday, June 15th, I attended as a liaison to Stigma-Free. And as a council member, a special event sponsored by Red Bull at the Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. Through our contact, we got this scarf as a benefit, through our contact Brett Lubin of Oradell, and we watched the soccer battle of the New York Red Bulls versus Nashville, South Carolina, which, although incredibly exciting, and I assure you it was really a fun evening, and the game was interesting, it ended in a tie, 0-0. At the halftime, I joined 8 other New Jersey representatives to draw attention to and support mental health awareness and fighting stigma. I would highly recommend residents consider attending a New York Red Bull soccer game. Don't know why they don't call themselves the New Jersey Red Bull soccer game, but that's just a side issue. They play in New Jersey at the Red Bull Stadium in Harrison. It was one of the most exciting sporting events I've been to in a long time. Thank you, Brett Lubin and the Red Bull organization for drawing attention to mental health. Oradell for All, that committee, I'm attempting to organize a reorganization meeting for this group and set up meetings, but we haven't accomplished that yet. As a side note, I very much enjoyed helping a fellow council member raise the LBGQT flag at the flag raising. I was delighted to attend with Mayor Jim Koth and with Michael Staff, the Oradell Public School graduation this past week. The students were terrific, fresh-faced, and excited to be graduating. I also enjoyed with those 2 gentlemen attending the Riverdale High School graduation. Again, the students were impressive with their speeches, were excellent, and there was a standout event as one senior, while walking up to receive his diploma, executed a full backflip in full gown and mortarboard. Quite impressive. Congratulations to all the students of OPS in Riverdale who graduated last week and all of their parents, friends, and family, and I'm very grateful to be a new council person. I also enjoyed the opening and welcoming to Oradell of the Aura restaurant, where Mayor Koth demonstrated excellent ribbon cutting skills. Welcome to the owners and staff of Oradell, and we feel that that's going to be a great organization for Oradell citizens. That's my report.
Thank you, Maggie. Mr. Hines, Administrator's Report.
Yes, sir. Tonight we have a list of accomplishments to report. Starting off with Marginal Road. This week we had a pre-construction conference attended by New Jersey Transit officials, Senzari Construction, Vortex, who'll do the piping, the police department, DPW, and a person who helped make this possible, our borough engineer, Mr. David Atkinson. This has been an uphill battle. It's not easy dealing with institutions that report at different levels. For instance, New Jersey Transit follows Federal Railroad Administration rules. They have many of them. We have to comply with all of them. We have received the permit to work. Work will start during the second week of July. Purposely picked, school is closed. Councilman Gullo had me put on my whiteboard the injunction, make sure you have road signs so people know. And we're going to do just that. Sergeant Pressburger will handle that. So that project is going to start second week in July. Instead of 2 weeks, we're hoping to be 1 week. So this is going to be a major advancement. As you know, that sewer line has broken about 2 years ago. I think Mayor Koth was there trying to help repair it. It's on borrowed time, so this will be corrected. Next, we have made the application to WEX. This is a program that the DPW subcommittee reviewed and approved. It will allow us to use credit cards. It's a known organization, national. The federal government uses it, corporations. Our police cars can get gas, and our DPW cars, and we're billed. But the company subtracts all the taxes. And in some of the institutions we get gas from, we get a discount, an extra discount. So we're looking to hopefully commence this program in the summer. One of the reasons we're doing this, the useful life of our underground tanks expires at the end of this year. They have a 30-year life. So to replace 2 tanks underground would be approximately $400,000. That's a lot of money. We do have money in the budget to extract the tanks. We have set aside $100,000, but this will allow us not at this point to have to encumber $400,000. So this is going to be a demonstration project. I can reassure the council this program is used by other boroughs in Bergen County. No one wants to be the guinea pig on a program, so it does work, and municipal clients are happy. Number 3, at the end of May, the council came out and endorsed the idea unanimously to purchase the rectory from the Church of the Annunciation next door. And they challenged, or not challenged, but they told me go out and help make this happen. So we have contacted the diocese of the Episcopal Diocese in Newark, and the president of the trustees, John Gard, is going to be personally in charge of making this project happen. I spoke to him this week. We both agreed we have stale appraisals, and so both the borough and the church are going to go out and get new appraisals. Next, tonight in Emerson, the mayor and council on their consent agenda are voting the agreement that Mr. Bailey helped negotiate to end the border war between Emerson and Oradell on those 11 houses on Soldier Hill Road. So that should be voted for tonight. And last, on July 2nd, there will be an RFQ published in the Bergen Record asking for bids or proposals for a real estate consultant. And that's my report for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Hines. Mr. Bailey, Borough Attorney's report.
Just briefly, the borough submitted its audit of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund last week in accordance with the new regulations, and we continue to work on amendments to the Habitat for Humanity contract, which I can't get into the details in open session, but we've made a lot of progress on that. So hopefully we have something to present at the next meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Atkinson.
Sure.
You're getting your own report.
All right, I got my own spot.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Just want to piggyback off on what the administrator had talked about regarding Marginal Road and just give everybody a little more detail as far as the project itself and the different details. So, as Mr. Hines had indicated, the second week of July, the contractor will be mobilizing. They're breaking it into 2 phases. The first phase is going to include replacement of a section of the pipe, as well as cleaning and televising and getting final measurements of the pipe system so that they can order the pipe lining material. Once that has been done, and during that process, it'll be about a week-long adventure for them to carry out the work that they're doing. The eastbound direction on New Milford will be closed, so everybody please keep that in mind as you travel through Oradell. There will be a variable message sign put up by the Oradell Police Department advising the public of that. But during that week-long time, the roadway will be closed to eastbound traffic only. Westbound will be able to get through. That's during the daytime hours. At the end of each working day, the roadway will be reopened to the public, so you'll have full access to the roadway. So that's during the first phase. The second phase of it will be a one-day operation where they'll come in and line the pipe. All the details of that will be worked out, but again, similar eastbound traffic will be closed for the one-day operation, and we anticipate them, they had indicated it's about a 14 to 16-hour job, so they will be there from start till finish, so it'll be a long day for the crews to carry out that portion of the work. Another item to update on, I know there's been a couple questions related to the gas station located at 255 Kinderkamak. So that site is an open NJDEP case as it relates to site remediation work. The owner is in the process of working with a contractor to remediate some soil conditions at the property. I don't have a start date at the moment. However, they will be excavating the contaminated soils on the property. All the contaminated material will be trucked off of the property where all the clean material that's there will be stockpiled and reused as backfill at the property. As far as their proposed trucking routes, they will be staying away from the residential streets within the community. The trucking route will be Kinderkamak down to Route 4, ultimately to the turnpike until to the receiving facility. So as far as, the start date, I don't have a date at this point. I know they were anxious to move that along back in April and May. Here we are now, almost July. So I envision that happening soon because I believe there's an excavator at the site. So all their work will be done under the supervision of a LSRP, which they're a licensed site remediation professional who is specialized in cleanups and stuff. So everything will be done in accordance with the state guidelines, and they'll also be following all the OSHA requirements as far as excavation measures at the site.
Dave, can I ask a question about that project? I know that the swale goes down under Kinderkamak and into the funeral home parking lot. Is that going to be addressed, or are they just going to, within the box of the USAVE?
When you say swale,
I think it's the plume.
It's the plume.
Oh, the plume.
The plume, thank you.
Yeah, the only thing that we were advised of was on their property only. There's nothing that they were doing outside of the limits of the property at this moment.
Okay.
Dave, aren't they required by DEP to maintain a project site ID and list the LSRP and the owner and all those things?
There should be a sign at the site. I don't know if I haven't been to the site myself.
There may be. I just don't recall seeing it.
I'm sure as soon as the case was called in as what they call a spill, anytime there's contaminations, it's the notice is provided. I mean, there is a case number so that's associated with it. So that should all be posted, as well as, like I said, who's the responsible person, which would be the LSRP. So it should be at the site, I would speculate, but I have not personally.
We'll let you know.
So, all right, and the last item, so the NJDOT has their fiscal year 25 local aid grant application. Those are due at the beginning of July. We're in the process of submitting for that with the grant consultant. For the phase 2 of Midland Road. So we had received grant funds for phase 1 in the amount of, I think it was $145,397. So that'll help offset the cost to do the work in that area, which is part of the phase 2 portion of the PSE&G work. So we're going to be submitting for phase 2 portion of that, and the announcements are typically around October, November timeframe for the grant award. So that'll help offset our costs for the repaving of the roadways in that area and allow us, even for that portion that they would be responsible for the half of the road, we can offset that for another portion of one of the other roads. So there's give and take as far as the area. So more or less, PSE&G is responsible for, let's just say, 1,000 square feet. We would get a credit of the 1,000 square feet because we would pay for that portion under the grant, and then they could use that 1,000 square feet in another location. That's not the exact numbers, but just for ease of verification. So that's all I have to report on.
Thank you, Dave.
Just a quick question, Dave.
Sure.
Fay Way, what's going on down there?
Project.
They've started the construction.
Yeah, so Fay Place, they're doing a townhouse development, which came before the zoning board for approval.
Planning board.
Planning board, sorry. Got them all mixed up. So anyway, so everything's under construction. Most of the infrastructure has been put in place at this point, and they're working on the construction of the actual units themselves as we speak.
Perfect. I had a lot of questions about that in the last month, so thank you.
And I know they're very anxious to move it along and get them constructed, so.
Thank you.
Yep, sure.
Okay. Any further business to come before the council? If not, Roger, I know this is your favorite point of the meeting.
Motion to adjourn,
And
please.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, Roger, 15 minutes.
Yeah, a little longer than that.
You're watching OPTV, Oradell Public Access Television.